What's going on, guys? This is Lucas.
This is Julian.
And this is L&J Financial coming at you with the purpose to inspire and enlighten a new generation of financial literacy and personal growth. Guys, I hope you had a terrific week. I mean, it was a week of news, Julian.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of week of news. GameStop, AMC. I mean, these companies that we thought were going under the water.
History was made.
History was made. I mean, in the retail investors, too, the little guy spoke up, and they were definitely heard. There's attack against the guys in the suits, the Wall Street, the big hedge funds, and you know what? From a little guy perspective, an average Joe, so to speak, I'm all for it. And my personal opinion was that regulation and limiting that, the buying of that stock and on certain platforms was a little bit restricting of free market. Julian, what are your quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that there was a lot of non-free market decisions made on Robinhood's behalf and some of the other platforms, but it's something that is going to happen with modern day technology and the trading and how fast people can buy shares. It's just a risk that something you guys are going to have to take into account when you guys go in to buy these stocks.
Mm-hmm. And I think that new investors need to understand that what I like, there's a huge positive that came out of this, which is a flood of new investors coming into the market. Whether you got in, if you're listening to this and if you got in on GameStop or AMC or Nokia, whatever, you made money. That's good for you. That's great. I like to compare it to going to casino, Vegas, going to casino and you won the first table of blackjack. That's great. But understand that not every stock reacts the way that they reacted.
Yeah.
But what I think a huge positive is it brings in so many new retail investors to the market, which is huge. I mean, that just means more younger millennials and Gen Zers came in with their money, and that's what this market needs, because it'll be more representative of the populace, which is what the market should be, because it's still 75+% owned by institutions, which is hedge funds and the big banks. So we have more retail investors like us, like you guys listening, coming in. That's what matters, and that's the big positive I see out of this. Nonetheless, whether you're pumping up a debt-driven company that's going to be out of business in a little bit, that's not my problem. But what it is a huge positive in my eyes.
Yeah, if people who made a lot of money on these trades like GameStop and AMC, potentially you made thousands of dollars on these trades, and that's great, and that could have been your first trade ever in the stock market. But now it's time to take that profit and spread it out and be smart with it and put it into companies that aren't going out of business anytime soon, and make that profit grow for you.
And that's exactly what we're going to be doing with our top 2 picks at the end of this podcast. Yep. So make sure to stay tuned to the very end. We'll give you our top 2 picks. And yeah, let's get right into today's topic, though. I want to talk about last week's pick. My pick was FuelCell, FCEL. Had a breakout week. I did a price prediction, price target by Friday of $22. Is at $20 last on Sunday, or as a market close on last Friday. And it broke out that week, went up about 20%, and I couldn't have been happier, and it went up 22, it went up to 23. I sold it at around $20.50. I got it around $19. I took it out, and it went down about 8% on Friday, and I bought them back in. So if any of you guys listening caught that rally, good job on you for doing due diligence and, staying tuned to the podcast.
FuelCell still right now, they're after hours on Friday, they went up almost 2%, and so that's they went down 6% that day. So after hours there was a lot of buying, and it's a little look at what could potentially happen next week with FuelCell. And yeah, if you guys were waiting on a cool off buy-in point, this right now it ran up to $25. It's sold off to $20, and it looks like it's showing a little bit of a recovery back up. I'm gonna shoot past that and hopefully hit all-time highs.
Yeah. So it's really playing that stock, understanding, having that respect, understanding when you should get out of a stock, when you should get into a stock. We talked about that last week. So if you want to understand more about risk management, check us out last week on understanding risk management and how to have the best risk to reward portfolio. But anyways, that kind of summarizes last week's big, news and coming from us and whatnot. But today's installment, what we want to drill into your guys' heads and for you to understand is the laws of attraction. This is going to be less of a stock influence video, more about mindset, because our 2 prongs are financial literacy and personal growth. And today is a personal growth podcast. We want to really come at you guys with the purpose of understanding the laws of attraction. Now, what governs laws of attraction? What does that even mean? Well, it's not a law that you'll see written in the Constitution or any bill. It's rather the laws of the wealthy, understanding wealth and why are the rich rich? And this we're talking about not from inheritance, but from the self-made entrepreneurs, which is about 4 in every year. About 50% of those that have billions and millions in this country are self-made. So if they can do it, you can do it as well. And it all starts with one thing, and that's desire. I mean, no matter who they are, no matter what successful person you've ever watched, you've ever listened to, if they're self-made, they had a desire at one point. It was a day, it was a week. A lot of times it comes from valleys that they were in, because it's easy to think great. It's easy to be on top of the world when you're on top of the mountain. But it's when you're in the ravine, it's when you're in the valley, when you see your other self. And I want to read a quote from the book Think and Grow Rich, which is a book that I encourage every single one of you to read. It doesn't matter if you want to have success in a marriage, success in a relationship, success in the house, success in your pocketbook. What matters is this. There are no limitations to the mind except those that we acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought. Now, you need to understand the thoughts governing your mind are giving you what you have right now. So if you change what you think and what you say, it's what you will become. So if you notice people that are negative, people that are, Debbie Downers, people that are always talking about how bad the world's going to end, they're very pessimistic. They're going to say, oh, we're going to another stock market correction. We're going to dip down to another depression. Or it's going to be a great depression. Oh, Biden being president is going to be the end of the world. Oh, Donald Trump staying in president is going to be the end of the world. It didn't matter what it was. It's a pessimistic point of view of the world. You'll never become successful if you don't have an optimistic point of view. Julian?
Yeah, I know that's really important because like you said, your thoughts, transform into your reality, and staying positive in the stock market, and like I talked about a couple episodes back, writing out your specific monetary gain goals by whether it's by week or by the day or by the month, but having a number visualized in your head on, all right, like I want to make $100 each week, profits. Having that number, writing it down and planning it out and sticking to a strategy, that's all about law of attraction. That's attracting what you want in the stock market, and knowing that that's what you're looking for, and doing anything it takes to, make those goals happen. And like I said, if you aren't writing out your price targets and your profit goals for each week, and you're just kind of trading blindly, just guessing and hopping in and out, you will see a drastic change in how better you do by just planning it out and visualizing what you want.
I want to add something to that, because that's a really good point you make. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether you're trading stocks, whether you're selling real estate, whether you want to be an actor, it doesn't matter what it is. If you write a statement down saying, I will get this X amount of dollars by this date through this service, you're holding yourself to a promise. Now, all of a sudden, the stakes change. It's like when you're playing pool with your buddies, and all of a sudden, one of them, you're just playing for fun. Oh, if I win, you have to buy me this, whatever. But if all of a sudden, if $1 on the line, the game changes. Same thing with putting a dollar amount onto paper, writing it down and seeing it and visualizing. That is part of, I like to say, thinking the good life. Living the good life is part of the law of attraction. It doesn't matter what stage you're in your life. Write down what you truly want and desire, and you'll see it every single day. You wake up before you go to bed. Doesn't matter, once or twice a day. Read it aloud to yourself, and you'll understand. You'll go, oh, you'll feel empowered. Trust me. No matter what you want, write it down. It helps so much with finding progress in your life, because with progress comes motivation. With motivation comes action. Your actions create results, and it's self-fulfilling. But it starts with writing down what you truly desire, because it doesn't matter whatever you want. You can write down whatever goals you want, but if you don't desire the outcome, if you don't desire, X amount of dollars, or this progress in this relationship, or you want to be a better, son, you want to be a better father, it doesn't matter what it is, you will never get it if there's no desire to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta have it in your head. You gotta have a purpose in whatever you're doing, or else it's very unlikely to become successful in anything without having the purpose to do it. So having that purpose and visualizing what you want, attracting that, it will show. And just try it out and see. Like have a notebook, start planning out, get a calendar. Whether it's 1% a day, whether it's 1% a week, have a number in your head. Just all it takes is having a plan and having a purpose to attract your goals.
And it doesn't matter if you think, let's say you think of a number and it's really high. Let's say you want to have like X amount of hundreds of millions by this age. It might sound crazy right now. You might sound like people think you're schizophrenic. It doesn't matter though. What matters is it's to you. So don't worry about it. No matter how outrageous it is, eventually when you keep reading it to yourself, and again, with this comes action. You can't just keep reading it to yourself, then you will be insane. What you need to put the action it takes to get to what you want. Because you can dream all you want, you can sit on the toilet, you can dream, you can go out in your backyard and dream what you want, but without action, it's the biggest thing. But it all starts with a desire, a wanting to do it, and that all comes from a purpose. Now, money isn't, the savior. It doesn't, like they say, money doesn't create happiness, but it can buy things that can make you happy. But what I like to think is this: money is an offspring of a service you provide. Find something that you're truly passionate about. If you're struggling to find desire in your life, let's say you don't really know where you want to go, find out what you really like to do, your passions, your interests. Write them all down. This is what I did to figure out what I wanted to do. You write them all down and see, well, this is what I really like to do. What would you do if money didn't exist? If everyone was getting paid if we lived in a massive communist world and you can do whatever you want, everyone gets paid the exact same amount of money. Find out what you would be doing, and then that's what you need to be doing, and provide that with the utmost desire and fulfill it, and you will get paid. Trust me, it'll come. It'll given the internet, it'll flow through in abundance if you write it down and you know what you want to do. I mean, we have the internet now. We have access to things that people didn't have in the past that made it a reality. You truly can do whatever you want and be whatever you want. It used to be an age-old tale of if you're an artist, you can't make money. Nowadays, the artists are the ones making the most money in the world. Look at every rapper, every singer, every musician. It doesn't matter who it is. Those are the people making the most money. People are literally getting paid to post themselves on Instagram. That's all that they're doing. They're getting paid to do that. You can't do it. Doesn't matter what you do. This is the age to do it in. It's the golden age.
Whatever you do, just do it with passion and a purpose, and success will find you.
And because without the purpose and the desire, you won't want to continue through doing it. Okay, if someone takes me and says, okay, you want to be a lawyer. I don't want to be a lawyer. Now, other people want to be a lawyer, and there's nothing wrong against law. My dad's in law. But I don't want to do it. And without that purpose, without the desire, I will never find success in that industry. And neither will you if you're not passionate behind it. So it'll come from what you truly want to do. And it sounds stupid, it sounds simple. And if you're having any thoughts, and it really depends on what kind of household you grew up in. Your dominating figures, your guidance, your figures, what's the word for it? Like people that are motivating you, your mentors. And, we'll get into finding and choosing mentors in the future podcast. But really, what we want to hammer into your heads is the power of a desire to want and a purpose to do it. Because that's where every bit of wealth, every bit of success, every bit of attainment all starts from. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, you name them, Warren Buffett, they all wanted a certain amount of money. They all wanted to do good. But, the purpose needs to be bigger than yourself.
Yep. And, just speaking of purpose and desire, I know anyone listening to this podcast loves a good day to get in on stocks, because we saw a huge pullback on the stock market last week. We got big buying opportunities for people. Hopefully we're not going down too far, but like I said, pullbacks are really good. They're not bad. They're times to buy more of what you own, as long as you know what you're holding and you believe that those stocks are going to last. And right now we're actually seeing a lot of pullback in the market and a lot of buying opportunities for people. And it's not about getting mad that you could be down 50% on a stock. It's not about that. It's about looking for the opportunity to get in on a discount on a stock. And that's how we look at it. All red days are just discount days. They're Black Fridays. So these are great opportunities to get in on the stocks that you've been watching if they've been overbought for a while. Either Friday or this week coming up would be a great week to start looking at them and seeing that they might be showing some signs of recovery. Maybe it's time to get in on those stocks.
Like we talk about, I mean, it's if you're a long-term investor, you're holding a lot of long positions, this week's going to provide a terrific opportunity with these down days, these down weeks. Terrific opportunities to buy into, huge, large cap companies that went down for no reason. It's great buying opportunities. It's always good to have a company that has solid financials. Like you look at Facebook, Microsoft, whatnot. If you own those companies and whatnot, don't worry about the dips. If you're holding long positions, they're good times to buy in. And again, to tie back into our main message of law of attraction and desire and purpose, having a purpose and desire, to tie back into stocks. The reason why anyone gets into the market is because they have a desire to accumulate money through other ways besides holding their money in a bank account, because banks provide you almost negative interest these days. So with that desire, you need to understand that there'll come turbulent times. It's not going to be, you're not, with valleys, comes peaks. With peaks comes valleys. And this last week was a little bit of a valley, but valleys start from a really good start point to start building back up.
Yep.
But now this is the time of the podcast that everyone wants. And if you stuck with us all the way through, thank you so much, and give it to a friend. Give this knowledge to a friend. But for this, we're going to come at you guys with our top 2 picks for the week. I'm going to start us off. My week, I predicted FuelCell last week. It was a little bit of a luck of the draw. I like the chart. But you know what? This company is a little bit larger cap. It has a little bit bigger buy-in. It's a fintech company. It's Green Dot. GDOT. Green Dot. It's a financial technical company. They have a terrific earnings per share of 1.8. Now, EPS is how much it's earning per how much the share price is. And usually in EPS between, I like to say 1 to about 7, that's incredible. 1.8 is a really good, really low amount, pretty undervalued. Has a PB ratio of 2.662, which is, I like to say, a PB between 1 and 3 really indicates that it's not super overvalued or overpriced. You're buying really a true value for that company, and that's what it has right now. And if you're wondering what Green Dot is, it's a fintech company, and fintech stands for financial technical. It's a huge emerging industry. Actually, like what we were going to get into this topic of this podcast was going to be emerging markets, but we changed it to law of attraction because we found it more applicable. But one of the emerging markets that me and Julian were going to talk about was the financial technology company. Now, a good example is a company like Mara, what we recommended 2 weeks on the podcast. And Mara is a marathon patent. It involves in the blockchain and mining of cryptocurrency. But cryptocurrency is an example of a financial technical company. These are companies that are expediting the process of payment and transfers of money, and that's what Green Dot helps with. Green Dot has been featured on Investor Place and Seeking Alpha for the past couple of weeks, so it's gaining a lot of really good traction. The buy-in is $50.23 right now, so it's a little bit up there in terms of but it is a really good growth company. I think that if you hold, I think it's hitting about $54 by Friday. So today is 131, and I think Friday, what's that? The 1st. No. Yes, the 1st. No. What's Friday? Next week.
Friday is the 8th.
8th. So I was looking at last month. Okay, it's going to be the 8th. So by the 8th, I'm thinking a $54 increase. I mean, it had a pretty good sell-off. I mean, it was trading at $61, and now it hit 48. I bought it at 49, and now it's up at 50. I think it's hitting $54 by the end of this week. Financial companies are hot. If you look at the hot emerging markets right now, a lot of the volume is significantly increased since October. I think this is going to provide a really good buy-in, and it's a great company with great financials. And yeah, Julian, what's your pick?
Yeah, so my pick also is going to be a financial technology company.
Love it.
As I don't know if you guys are aware, but I'm a big believer in Bitcoin as a future currency and a lot of other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum specifically. But I do believe that cryptocurrency is the new way of payment in the future. So Bitcoin is on the surge, and these financial technologies, these financial tech companies are just starting out, and they're a great opportunity to get in early on some of them. Like Lucas's is a Green Dot. It's already pretty established a little bit, up at almost $50 a share. But my pick for this week is a little undervalued, right at $5 a share. It's FTFT ticker. Future FinTech Group, and basically it's just another blockchain cryptocurrency e-commerce platform that accepts Bitcoin as major payment methods. And I think it's based in Japan, but this is what we're personally looking at as the future of currency.
Yeah.
And it's in crypto, and these technology companies that are going to be supporting crypto payments are going to be seeing a lot of growth. So right at $5 a share, FTFT is a financial technology company.
Great pick.
I think it has a lot of room to go. Like I said, it can go up to $50. It could go to $100. Right now, it's just brand new, and it's early on. And
you said, what was this trading at right now?
$5 a share.
$5 a share. That's, okay. Well,
so yeah. It went down on Friday, but after hours, we see a 3% rise. So like I said, if you look in those after hours movement, you can kind of start to see like what's going on. There's insider buying happening after hours when less shares are being traded, when the volume's lower. So it's good that we're going to be looking into more of these financial technology companies, because I think they just have a lot of growth opportunity. For
And
crypto.
one thing I want to add before we finish off this podcast is that these fintech companies really they don't have a lot of overhead costs. It doesn't cost a lot to manage them. It's really the technology and the software that they're paying and the space online to store the data. Really, fintech companies don't have any overhead. It requires very little what they're buying is CPU power and storage in terms of computers in their warehouses. And that's really the only overhead that they have. And one thing I want to add about Green Dot before we finish off is that I'm just reading a article from Investor Place right now, and they say that third quarter results show a 16.2% increase in revenue year over year, which is an EPS of 25 cents. That's incredible, and they have a hefty cash balance of $2 billion according to Investor Place. This is already an incredible indication. Now, it is $50, it is a higher buy-in, but this is a growth play. This is a company that will have way more to grow, and that's my personal opinion. Again, do your due diligence as an investor to find your own stock pick. But anyways, that's all from me. Julian, anything to add?
Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. I think if you guys want to just watch Bitcoin, and if you guys want to throw $20 in on that, $10 you can buy fractional shares, so you can buy as much of it as you want for as little of a cost as possible, and just see where it goes in the next 10 years. And I think it'll pay off.
Anyways, guys, that's been Lucas from L&J Financial.
It's been Julian.
Guys,
Peace
take care.
out.